Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge Samaniego, I was listening to your testimony earlier, and in your opening statement, you said there is no open border in Texas. Yet it seems that you've spent the last several years processing, as you say, migrants that have come across. So I don't know how you could say there's no open border. You mentioned several times, in fact, that you're processing illegal immigrants. And I'd like for you to elaborate what you mean by processing, because a little over a month ago, about 1,500 migrants crossed the Rio Grande in a single night, and a report suggests that because there weren't enough beds, more than 600 of these migrants were released into the streets. Is that an example of processing?
The example of processing is that the Border Patrol lets us know about those that have been sponsored. They vet them at that point, and this is where we work really closely with them.
So you're saying if they have a sponsor, they're allowed into the country?
No.
That's the requirement?
No, that facilitates the fact that they're allowed into our country, and then when they're processed, they become legal. And at that point, the fact that they have a sponsor allows us to work with the persons that are legal. We never try to process illegal at any point, at any time. There's no consideration.
One of the things you mentioned were these NGOs, Catholic Charities was brought up. Are you aware if taxpayer dollars are being spent on those? You talked about bus tickets and shelter. I've been to the border personally and seen Catholic Charities put migrants in hotels and send them to the airport and purchase flights. Where's that money coming from?
Well, most of it is in El Paso. Most of them are donations from the public. You know, they get donations. We have an Annunciation House.
So you don't believe there's any taxpayer dollars being spent on that?
Well, let me give you an example. One of the leading individuals that houses and shelters them and moves them forward is Annunciation House, and they will not take 1 cent from federal money. They do not want federal money because they just feel like they'd be trapped into that.
Well, the information that I have from our government is that we have spent quite a bit on that, and I hope this committee will determine just exactly how much. I would also implore you to revise some of your wording. You know, you've called several of us racist because of, in your opening testimony, you said there is no invasion of migrants in our country, saying as such continues a false racist narrative. And then you went so far as to try to link these words to a horrible crime that was committed in your city. I would advise you to watch your words and be careful when you're talking about people like Mr. Dunn, who are voicing a very serious issue. Absolutely. Migrants are absolutely invading this country. I applaud this bill. I'm very disappointed in the testimony I heard from my colleague in Maryland citing the Catholic bishops. I believe the Catholic bishops have endorsed this Catholic Charities ruse to encourage more migration. They have encouraged and facilitated child trafficking and a lot of the violence that we've seen. Our border's absolutely open, and I'll yield the balance of my time to Mr. Roy from Texas. Okay.